Other than that, did you see the Ric Flair video
No, I missed
after
that
in
too.
the hospital?
I'm a bad co-host this week. I haven't seen anything.
Well, he had a little video with him actually in a shirt that said, "I'm not dead yet, motherfuckers."
That's
And
appropriate.
yeah, I mean, I didn't mind the shirt. I thought the shirt was funny, but he was hooked up to IVs, and some people didn't like it. Some people did. Some people thought he looked old. He did look old and sickly. He looked like he lost some weight, but just to see him talking, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And saying that he'll see you in a long time. I mean, even if it's not necessarily true, just to see him being able to sit up and actually cut a promo from what we thought could have happened to him a week or two ago, I'll take that as a positive any day, man.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm
By
glad
the
to
way,
see it.
they're also selling those "I ain't dead yet, motherfuckers" shirts on RicFlair.com.
That's Ric Flair in his sick bed has appropriated
Still trying to draw that money.
has appropriated a joke from Richard Pryor and then turned it into a T-shirt that he can sell. I love it. That is
You know,
the most Ric Flair thing that could be done.
see what's crazy? I've heard a lot of commentary on that shirt, and you know what it's from, and I know what it's from, but nobody else has mentioned that it was from Richard Pryor. And it's one of the most popular things that Pryor did.
Well, not everybody's an old fart like you and I guess.
Oh yeah, but Pryor's like a comedy legend, and you don't know what "I ain't dead yet, motherfuckers" means. You know what I mean?
Well, then take it from me. One day I was lecturing, dude. I was lecturing in class one day, and I made a reference to The Simpsons, and everyone asked me what was The Simpsons, and I realized I've crossed some threshold where the younger generation doesn't get me, and I don't get it.
Yeah, that's when they have to ask you what the Simpsons are. Me and you have jumped the shark.
I mean, it happened to me when I said
That-
something once about the Smashing Pumpkins, and this is about 4 years ago, and like, oh, I've never heard of that. What's the Smashing Pumpkins? I get that. Not everybody listens to every band. But the Simpsons, whenever you don't know what that, and the Simpsons are still on the air, by the way, people. And these young people don't know who the Simpsons are. It's like, hang on. Have you been lucid for the last 20 odd years? I mean, come on, people. But it's one of those things. It's funny. It's how soon they forget, as the old saying goes. It was Richard Pryor who said that first. There's also something I've learned. There's not a lot of original ideas in wrestling. It's almost always borrowed from somewhere else. So it's not that Ric Flair's done something unusual by appropriating Richard Pryor's work. It's just a continuation of the trend, really. But I'm with you. I can't believe people didn't know where that came from. But I'm not surprised that they didn't know where it came from.
No, but I wish they would just come out and tell us what happened to him. Like, what kind of surgery did you have, man? Like, what's going on with you? Instead of keeping people in the dark. And I understand you got a right to privacy uh, with your medical problems and all that. But at the same time, when you're a public figure like that, and you're just very vague, not Flair, but like his fiance and people around him are just very vague as to what's going on with his health. It's almost like, please just tell us what's going on, man.
Yeah, this is
Just
one of
let us.
those cases, and I'm with you. I'm a big believer in people's rights to privacy when it comes to medical things. They do have the right to medical privacy, but it's not. I don't think people who want to know because they're trying to pry. I think a lot of them are wanting to pray for the guy and just know what he's in, and to use an old George Carlin, identify with him. I wish he'd say as well, but yeah, I don't guess he's going to, at least not right now.
No. And I know he didn't look in the best of shape in that video, but the fact that he was able to cut a promo or just give a statement at all, I'll take it.
Well,
'Cause it could have been. I mean, from what I understand, it was not looking good there for a little while.
yeah, well, that's good for him, man. That's a positive step in the right direction. Of course, not knowing what he's actually facing and or going through, he might or might not be out of the woods. Who knows? But well, let's hope and pray that he is out of the woods and back to being Ric Flair, as much of the Ric Flair of old as he can, as soon as possible.
By the way, superstar Billy Graham, who is a friend of Flair's, but he criticized the video. I guess he criticized it for him just by staying in gimmick. You know what I mean? And not giving I guess like a stripped down real statement.
Well,
it wasn't like, and you know, Billy Graham has said a lot of crazy stuff out there, but I think this was an honest critique, which I understand, but I don't think you're gonna get to that in a Flair. Flair is gonna be Flair.
That's just the old way, the way he was trained. As you live your gimmick, you know, he comes from that era. You don't break the gimmick. You always
I don't think it's possible necessarily to separate Ric Flair the man from Ric Flair the gimmick.
He's been Ric Flair the gimmick for a long time.
He has lived Ric Flair the gimmick for a long time.
Yeah, I once heard this was actually on it was on MSL and Kevin Sullivan's podcast, a great podcast that far better known than ours, and rightfully so. And they were talking about when Hulk Hogan had to testify against Gawker, which is one of his greatest babyface runs in the history of his career, in my opinion. But when Hulk Hogan testified in the trial as Terry Bollea, MSL said, "You know what, man? You can say what you want and think what you want. I guarantee you Hulk felt like he was playing a character when he had to be Terry Bollea more than he's felt he was playing a character as Hulk Hogan." And I could buy that.
I could buy that too. Well, you know, me and you used to talk back in the day about some guys could not stop living their gimmick. Some guys would live their gimmick so much, especially when they would come home, they could not shut it off. And they would run into really big problems with their families and personal life because they just could not separate their real life persona from the gimmick.
Yeah, exactly. There's lots of examples of that, you know. But that used to equal, that's how you made money. You had to really, you're the ultimate character actor. You had to live it. You had to get right into it. So, but then getting back to Billy Graham, like you say, everybody has their opinion, and I'm sure his was an honest critique, and he's probably coming from the same place we are. We say, well, we just want to know what's going on, man. But I can understand why Flair would want to. He's the consummate entertainer. He likes to. He's partied a lot and talked a lot and done a lot, all in an effort to help everybody have a good time.
Yeah, and I mean, I didn't expect anything less. If he would have done a video like that, I would not have expected Flair to be anything else but what he was on the video. Although the "I Ain't Dead Yet, Motherfuckers" T-shirt was it seemed a little out of place for Flair.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I thought it was funny.
It's humor. I mean, was this the old saying, whistling past the graveyard? If you're dealing with a morbid topic like your own mortality, I think it's not a bad idea to keep it as light as you can and thumb your nose at death, as they say.